What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin on the Minnesota border. Here to talk Packers tonight as a flurry of new transactions have taken place. There's all kinds of rumors cranking up. We'll dive into all of it, as well as a little bit of draft talk. We'll cover all the bases tonight. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X, live on Rumble. Also, if you are hearing my voice on one of those three platforms and you go, man, I'd really like to listen to this on the go search Packernet Podcast, wherever you get your podcast, and you can get this in podcast form there, along with Ryan Schlip's Packernet Podcast, the flagship podcast of that network. Awesome show there. Make sure you check it out. So I see, first of all, give a shout out to Clint here, being a new member. Appreciate you joining as a YouTube member here, Clint. Thanks. Welcome to the posse, bub.
Awesome.
And of course, Ron Sample already seen the goal. He said 1. So we got a goal tonight. If we hit 10 super chats, and I've got it set to the cheapest one, we'll do a mock draft, 7-round mock draft at the end if we hit that goal. So
Ron and Bates in here right away. Look at bam. We're at 2 already.
So there's a good chance we're going to hit that goal. Let's go rapid fire and get through the news here real quick. Anything you guys want to lead off with? Anything at all on the forefront of your mind you'd like to lead off?
I mean, I am a little shocked at the Josh Myers news, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what jumped out off the page for me. Also, the A.J. Dillon news. Also, the MVS news. Lots of news.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right into the Josh Myers news that Jacob's referring to here, as Jeremy Fowler from ESPN tweeted out, former Packers center Josh Myers has agreed to terms with the Jets on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal per source, 4-year starter in Green Bay, back with Justin Fields, his Ohio State team. I didn't even put those two together, to be honest with you. But like Tim said, man, we just missed that snap the effing ball Josh connection again.
Yeah.
With Aaron leaving town and Josh going to the Jets. So kind of cool to see him and Justin Fields back together. But I will say this, at $3.5 million, I would have been totally fine with the Packers bringing him back at that price. I think Drew said it earlier in the chat, which he's actually got the super chat here. That's number 3 of 10, boys. Appreciate it, Drew. He actually mentioned earlier here in the pre-show how it must mean that the Packers did not offer Josh Myers anything, which is kind of wild because they did talk him up last year, right? Which is another example of you can't really take everything they said verbatim. You know what I mean, Tim?
Or it's just gamesmanship, right? You know, we're seeing what we saw, and then we hear the staff saying he's playing the best ball of his career. It's like you're kind of setting that market for the future. And but I'm not going to drag Josh Myers. That guy was a great teammate, and you can talk about his abilities out there on the field. It's not for a lack of effort, and I think the guy carried the G as best as anybody, honestly, during his time here. And I wish him the best out there in Jersey, playing with the Jets. I think I also agree with your statement. $3.5 million. I mean, that ain't too much cheddar. I would have probably kept him at that price too. But obviously, the Packers had other plans, and that's okay. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios where we'll move onward and upward, and hopefully so will Josh. I think he'll do well out there in New York.
Yeah, I do too. Shout out to Josh Martin and Hardy the Prophet. We got 5 now, so we are closing in already. Jacob, you kind of brung it up, man. What's your take on Josh Myers and the amount of money he got and going to the Jets?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just an odd situation where, one, like Deadfish was saying, they had a center named Joe Tippmann that they drafted from Wisconsin not too long ago, who I thought was playing decently, but apparently they thought it would be good maybe to upgrade. I don't know if they're bringing him in there to be a backup, if that's the way they see it, but $3.5 million. I definitely would have been okay with him being on the team for that amount of money. Jay Cole says that you were right about Josh, probably not even offering him anything. It seems as if they saw what they needed to see. And one other little kind of, I don't know if you call it a fun fact or whatever, but somebody brought it up in the chat that it looked like that Myers getting a less contract than Stokes was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, I honestly,
there it is.
We had talked about it. Yeah, there you go, Prince with the comment. We had talked about it all year, and I just didn't see it. I didn't see like any kind of love that they had for Josh Myers. It was just like, man, the athleticism's there, right? We talk about the size at center, which is really, really rare. RAS King, all that stuff, right? But when it came down to it, at the end of the day, man, it was just like you can definitely do better at the center position. And there were some people within Packers media that were standing on that hill like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I watched the tape, and it's amazing how if someone says they watched the tape, automatically that means their understanding of what's going on is the correct one. Like, we watch tape too. It doesn't mean we're right in our assessment any more than anyone else. We just share our opinions. But people kind of stand on that hill and talk down to folks. That does crack me up because they're eating some crow today. They definitely are. But again, all the best to Josh Myers as he moves on to the Jets. I hope it works out. I think he's a stand-up dude. Obviously had a rough year last year, both on the field and off the field. So look forward to continuing to watch him play. Who knows? Maybe he can cut the corner, and this time next year we're talking about him getting a big extension or something. That could happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this is set up for, right? That's a prove-it deal if I've ever seen one, right? 1 year, $3.5 million. So go out and get your money, Josh.
Absolutely. Other news dropping today, just more rumors. Diana Rossini, if she hadn't attached Mike Silver to this, I would have just kind of brushed it off. But the fact that Mike Silver has got his name attached to this as well, who you guys know has had a pretty good working relationship with Aaron for a long time. I think they go back to the Cal days where he covered Cal, and he's a big Cal fan, if I remember correctly. Nonetheless, Diana Rossini says Vikings decision makers are still evaluating their options at quarterback, including the possibility of signing Aaron Rodgers, the 4-time MVP, is intrigued by the idea of playing in Minnesota for now.
Stop it.
Game, sources tell Mike Silver and me. So it sounds like the Vikings are open to Aaron going there. It's will Aaron go there? And, of course, the way it's worded here, Aaron is intrigued by the idea. Everything else that I've heard, it sounds like he's got it narrowed down to the Giants and the Steelers, though. And if I had to put money on it, I would say the Steelers is where he's going to end up.
And, of course, we're hearing zero from Aaron Rodgers.
Right, exactly. It was funny listening to the McAfee show earlier today, and you guys know Tone Diggs is a big Steelers fan, and hearing his take on it was hilarious. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch that, but Tone Diggs said, I think we'll find out here in a couple of days. We got a full moon coming up. His moon rocks will be fully charged, and I think he'll make a decision. And then they asked Tone, and Tone said he didn't want it. He's like, yeah, I would rather them go a different route. And there's a lot of Steeler fans that have been vocal like that. Now you're going to hear the loud minority. Obviously, we've learned that in more than one way these last few months, but so we'll see where he ends up. It could be the Giants, could be the Steelers. I think it is a long shot for the Vikings, but again, Diana Rossini and Mike Silver mentioning that just getting Aaron, if Mike Silver chatted with Aaron and got him to say he would be intrigued by it, to me, it seems more gamesmanship to try to drive up that cost a little bit more on the other two teams. You know what I mean?
Yeesh.
I agree. I'm sure there's no shortage of Vikings fans that don't want Aaron in Minnesota either. So,
Right.
Say, while we're on the topic of the wonderful New York Football Jets, what do you guys think about what J. Cole was saying? I saw that they released C.J. Mosley today, and he says, C.J. Mosley, anyone? I originally thought, man, that guy's washed up. I pulled him up on the old PFF. Let me tell you something. His grade this last year, granted, I believe he may have gotten hurt because he did not have many snaps. He had just over 100. But that being said, he had a 74.7 defensive grade, a run defensive grade of 81.6. Here are his grades since the beginning of his career in 2014. 2014, 70.2, 15, 68, 66.8, 2016, 76.3, 2017, 72, following year, 73, 75, 42, really bad year in 2021. 2022 bounces back with a 69.8 last year, played over almost 1,200 snaps with an 82.9 with a 90.6 coverage grade, guys. And then, like I said, this last year, a little banged up, but still had a 74.7 grade.
He only had a little over 100 snaps, right? So he got hurt this past year. If he can come back healthy, and you're talking about a reasonable contract, sign me up. You're looking for another linebacker. Right now, your linebacker room is Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, right? If you throw C.J. Mosley in there, who is a 6'2", he is your traditional kind of I don't want to say perfect, but cut from that perfect mold of what a mock backer should look like, should be like. You throw him in at the mock and have Edgerrin play free, and then if all of a sudden Quay Walker is your third linebacker, I really like that. Quay and Quay playing for his career, obviously the last year of his contract, I wouldn't mind that move one bit. Now, will Goody do it? Let's look at precedent. When was the last time they signed an aging middle linebacker, right? Can't think of it. So I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade. I would be okay with it for the right price. Surprise, right? But yeah, that's how I would see it. I don't know. What do you think, Tim? If you add that guy in as extra, at a minimum, extra depth, I mean, my goodness.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, right? A depth guy, again, kind of towards the end of his career, you could probably get a relatively good deal. I don't know what the market's like on him, obviously. I mean, a couple of bigger names have been released. I'm sure we'll get to the rest of the news feed and stuff. But I don't have a problem with CJ Mosley. I just wouldn't bank on anything, more than a year or two tops with him.
People in the chat were saying, "Oh, he's hurt constantly." Well, he only had 2 seasons where he was hurt. Other than that, there was it's only 2 seasons that he has had under 800 plus snaps. The bulk of them are over 900. The bulk of those are even over almost 1,000 to 1,200 plays or snaps that he plays every year. So the guy's actually been pretty durable. Had 2 kind of off seasons in the 10-year career.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I would be on board with it. I would, for the right price. All right. Next topic here. Let's see. Jordan Schultz tweeted out. He was the first one that I seen had it. Said breaking former Packers running back A.J. Dillon is signing with the Eagles per sources. Dillon, just 26 years old, has 2,428 yards rushing and 18 total touchdowns. So I think he will fit right in at Philly, me personally, him and Saquon. Now let's see if he's still got it. I know this. I will not be pulling for the Eagles if they're ever playing the Packers. If they're playing an opponent, and let's say the Eagles are ahead of the Packers in the NFC standings, I want the Eagles to lose. But every time A.J. Dillon touches the ball and there's nothing that's going to hurt the Packers on that result, I'm rooting for this dude. I really am. I think it's going to be fun to see him. And we're going to find out. Did we misuse him? Was he just not a fit for our scheme? What happened, right? He goes to Philly, and all of a sudden he's averaging 4.5, 5 yards a carry. We know, all right, that was a better fit. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think you're right, though. He's going to fit in just fine out there. And good spot for him to, get the legs under him and get moving again. It's been a while since he played some ball. So, and I'm sure he's going to keep the Door County house, and he's going to still be Mr. Wisconsin, guys. Don't freak out. This is just the business side of things. I think A.J. Dillon's not going anywhere when it comes to, his love and his roots here in Wisconsin. So I'm with you, Clay. As long as we're not playing the Eagles, I wish A.J. all the best out there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, speaking of having his legs under him, the Aaron Timothy, is that too old for this? Did you change your name? He says the Eagles wanted an all-quad backfield. I tell you what, that is probably going to be the biggest quads of any duo back in the history of the NFL. I think that's probably true.
I'll say this too. Makes me feel pretty damn good that the guy that was going to be a potential running back on our roster we didn't see that he was even worthy to be the 4th back, but the defending Super Bowl champions thought he was. That says a lot about our running back room. I mean, think about that. Like the Packers wanted him back, and they thought that they would see him. Look at that pterodactyl, got it. More valuable than like Marshawn Lloyd, right? Then they would have kept him. They would have tried to make an offer. It sounds like they didn't even make an offer to him. So the fact that they didn't make an offer and the Eagles go out and swoop him up tells me a lot about this backfield, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes me feel really damn good that the best running back in the league, the team he's on, said, we want Green Bay's 4th best running back. Pretty cool. So just want
I agree
out there. All right.
Look at that, too. I didn't realize Prince is saying that Patrick Taylor got re-signed by the 49ers, too. LOL.
Here's the guy.
I'll tell you what.
So I thought this was really cool. I'm going to try to read it to you guys without stuttering too much. You guys know I am horrible at reading. Hate public reading, but when you do a podcast, get over it, right?
This is great. I saw this earlier. This is awesome.
I said, we're building a team, not collecting talent. Big B actually tweeted this out, and it said, new Packers cornerback Nate Hobb. Thinking about Hobbs, right? Is it Hobb or Hobbs?
It's Hobbs.
Hobbs.
Okay, yeah, just a little typo there. Posted this right after Rich Bisaccia left the Raiders back in 2022. Now Rich and Hobbs will be reunited in Green Bay. So here is what it said here. This was a post that he put up kind of honoring, I guess you could say, Rich Bisaccia. I know it's going to be hard for y'all to read, so I'll read it for you. Everybody's going, hold on tight. The Redneck's reading. Dear Coach, honestly, I don't know where to begin. So I'll just start by saying I love you. Since I was 12, I didn't really have a father figure in my life till later. After a while, he passed away too. In 2021, Coach Gruden stepped down and you became head coach. That year, I met another man in my life that believed in me and loved me like a brother. A feeling I hadn't felt in so long. You were the only person I would allow to curse me out severely, then tell me that you love me 2 hours later. LOL. One thing I admired about you so much when things got hectic, the more you appeared to remain even more poised. Two things you taught me in this lifetime I'll carry for the rest of my lifetime. Quote, nobody gives a F. And quote, put a little love in your heart and smile on your face. Coach, you had my back and believed in me when thousands didn't. And for that, I love you. So pretty darn cool. Now, I know there's been a lot out there when it comes to the Fire Rich Bisaccia crowd, right? But this...
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
This is that factor that we talk about, man, that, it's easy to look at the PFF grades and even watch the tape and remove the human element to it. And it's, well, I don't care. It's not, as some people like to say, it's not show business. It's not show friends. It's show business. You go in a locker room and say that, that's getting thrown out the window. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Players want to play for each other. Players want to feel like the coaches actually give a rip. They want to feel like the organization gives a rip. That's why in my opinion, that Josh Allen contract extension, when they didn't have to do it, is so vital to the culture of your organization. Rich Bisaccia is a culture guy, and I thought this was really cool, and how fitting that that Hobbs is in green and gold now and going to be playing for Rich. I think this is absolutely awesome, man.
Yeah, I think it just kind of solidifies that pipeline that seems to be pretty prevalent over the last few years, going from Vegas to the Packers. There seems to be just a massive amount of respect from both sides. I personally, I've went up and down with my thoughts on Rich, but I've also stated that certain players, certain coaches, certain parts of organizations are inquantifiable. And I think that what he brings to the team and clearly has brought to other teams, because all you hear from players that have played for him is how much they love the guy, even though he is a little bit hard-nosed, a little brash, kind of old school type coaching style, which I personally would love. But I think we need to take a step back and realize, like you said, not everything is able to be dissected by a few numbers on a chart.
Yep. Tim, you got anything to add to the Rich Bisaccia conversation here with obviously Nate Hobbs?
More of what Jacob just said, basically. We talk about you got to get their hearts and minds right if you want guys to play for you, but a lot of times you got to get the heart first. You got to get them in the heart. They got to know that you care about them and their futures, and they're willing to go to war for you. And I think it's just awesome to get to see this quote. Obviously it's a couple years old, but it rings true now. And seeing that chemistry that we've seen before with the the Raiders pipeline, like Jacob talked about, whether that's Keyshawn or Josh Jacobs, we tried it with a kicker that didn't work so well, so I'll leave that alone. But other than that, we got a pretty good track record. And I know, look, Coach B gets a lot of BS from the fan base sometimes, and I really don't think it's warranted. I was super excited when he got here, and I'm glad he's still here. And especially the way that there's coaching turnover and staff turnover in this league, it seems like it's year to year. It's nice to see that Rich has got some roots here in Green Bay these past few seasons, and I hope he sticks around for the long haul. And I'd love to hoist a Lombardi with a guy like this. We have to remember he's more than just the special teams coordinator. He's our assistant head coach, and he brings a lot of tangible and intangibles to the table here in Green Bay. So I'm glad he's our coach, and I'm really glad we got Nate Hobbs. I think this is going to prove to be one of the steals of free agency. Really do. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what he can do as well, man. It's funny you mentioned hoisting the Lombardi, the old Lombardi quote, and I'm sure I'll butcher it. It's something along the lines of, what is it? The battles are won in the hearts of men, and once you've won their heart, they'll follow you anywhere.
Yep.
You can sum it up by saying the old saying as well. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. That stuff matters, man. And I'm telling you, you see the people that roll their eyes and they think it doesn't matter. They're miserable human beings. Look at the fruit on their tree. Look at them. Look at their Twitter following, right? They'll have 38 followers, and you go through and look at their last 10 tweets, and it's negative, 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 negative. And they're the ones going, this doesn't matter. Well, you better be able to play football good. All right. I'm just telling you.
Yep.
Talent on every team is great in the NFL, right? It's how you utilize that talent, how you create that perfect environment, how you cultivate, right? How you take care of that culture is absolutely huge. It helps when you're winning. Don't get me wrong. Culture is easy to build when you're at the top of the mountain. But I think you want somebody like Rich Bisaccia when crap hits the fan to kind of pick these boys up and show them that he believes in them while also putting a boot in their ass. You know, both are vitally important there. So, all right. So the next thing, we got the Aaron Banks contract information here. And I'll throw the tweet up here, and then we'll actually dive into the entire contract. The gist of it, $27 million guaranteed, carrying a $9 million cap hit in 2025. Essentially, it's a 4-year deal. That's really a 3 with plenty of flexibility for restructuring years 2 and 3. As Spot Track had tweeted out, Banks, 4 years, $77 million, $27 million guaranteed, $63 million 3-year cash, 1 year, 29.4 practical. Okay, what that means is essentially 1 year, $29 million is what you're on the hook for. After that, you can get a little bit of freedom from it. So what I'm going to do now is put up the contract and explain what all that means in a nutshell. We're not going to go too in detail here, but hopefully we can give you guys and gals an idea of what we're talking about. So when we pop the contract up on the screen, this is from Spot Track. Make sure you go check out the site. It's absolutely awesome. It's my go-to for this type of stuff. Here's what we got. You'll notice in 2025, this upcoming year, okay, the cap hit is $9.1 million. Okay, the dead cap attaches $27 million. So that's along with that 29 that we talked about, right? So base salary is only 1.5. Signing bonus proration is 6.7. You'll see that 6.7 spread out evenly over the life of the contract. Your roster / GM bonus. First of all, your roster bonus, just your normal roster bonus in 2026, he's got one of $9.5 million, and another one in 2027. What that means is if he makes the roster, and typically that's at the break-in of camp. Some of them are actually set for March. We won't go into all the details of when that is. The point is it's more or less a club option is what it is, right? If he's on the roster, he's due that money. If he's not, they can get out of it. It's not actual guarantee. That's why we talk about practical guarantee, and that comes in the form of the $27 to $29 million, which you'll see is spread out 675, 675, 675, 675. So this is what it means. In year 1, his cap hit's only 9.1. In year 2, his cap hit jumps to $24.8 million. You go, whoa, that's big money. It is. Don't expect that cap hit to hold true in year 2. And what's cool is the dead cap attached in year 2 is $20.2 million, meaning if for some reason he falls flat on his face and he is not the guy we thought he was, you could cut bait after 1 year and still free up, $4 million, $4.6 million roughly off that contract. Now, let's say he makes it through year 2. Now you're at the age of 30, right? His the way the contract will break down in 2027 is 5.1 in base salary, the 6.7 in signing bonus, 9.5 million in roster bonus. So if you don't make the roster, you can get out of that money. Roster GM bonus of $500K and then a workout bonus of $400K. So essentially the cap hit in 2027 drops down from 24.8 to 22.2. You see this commonly with Gutekunst's and Russ Ball's way of doing contracts. Remember the Kenny Clark contract last year in year 2 of the deal or what have you, the number was inflated. And then this year it dropped down. When you get to year 3, typically the cap number will come back down, right? The dead cap attached off of the 22.2 is actually $13.5 million. So you can free up roughly $9 million if you cut him after the 2026 year, his second year on the team. Now, let's say you really like the way he's playing and you want to keep him throughout the duration of this contract. That's where you're going to look at the base salary and the roster bonus. So in year 2 next year, let's say he balls out and he goes all pro. Obviously, you're not looking to cut him. You're not going to ask him to take a pay cut. He's worth the money spent. What they'll probably end up doing is convert some of that $7.7 million in base salary and that $9.5 million in roster bonus. They'll convert it to signing bonus, write him a check, and then they can kick those cap hits on down the road, unless they just want to pay the bill right now if they're in good cap shape. Does that make sense, guys? We always say a 4-year deal is really a 3 with Goody. and a 3-year deal is really a 2, this is one of those rare ones, and it's why we were like, that's why they're not releasing the guaranteed money. You could actually get out of it and free up a little cap after year 1. Now, you're still going to hold a $20.2 million cap penalty, and I don't think that's a part of the plan to get out of the contract. But if you do, that's the way it's structured. So essentially, it's a 4-year deal, or it's a 3-year deal in the shape of a 4-year deal. That makes sense.
Yeesh. And they're not going to try and get out of the contract because we're going to hoist Lombardi, and they're going to definitely want to bring that piece back. I don't think they brought him in thinking they were going to cut and run, but it's nice to have that kind of built into the structure. That you never know how this league can turn out, right? You're always in for surprises, especially in that first quarter of the season. There's really no telling. So hopefully he comes out strong and has a great year for us, and we continue to move forward. But it's nice to know that we've got a kind of a contingency plan there.
Yeah, essentially, after 1 year, you can get out. But when you get to the age of 30, you can really get out. And that's what we always talk about, Jacob, right? You get to age 30, it's like, okay, is that guy going to continue to play at a high level, or is he going to drop off? Is he going to hit the wall? And we know Goody likes them under 30. There's no doubt about that. But what do you think, Jacob? Do you like the contract? You still think it's high? How do you feel about that?
It's still a little higher than I would have desired, but I'm willing to give it a year, give it 2 years, and really see how it comes to fruition. I think that he, I don't know necessarily exactly how PFF does their grading systems and all that, but again, all I know is that San Francisco consistently had one of the best offensive lines, best offenses, best running games, best pass protection in the league. So if he was a cog in that machine, and I don't know, I just find it hard to believe that he did grade so quote unquote poorly. I think that hopefully we're going to see him have a little step in his game. And like I said, PFF is, you take that with a big grain of salt. I think all of us will know by the end of the year whether or not we find him good, whether we find the money worth it. And like you said, Goody, again, throwing down a contract where if we got to pull the ripcord and say, I want to get out of this, we can do that after year 1 if we have to. Probably more like a year 2 thing, but yeah. I'm warm on the deal. I'm not blazing hot. I'm not cold. I'm warm on it.
Yeah, I feel good about it in the sense of if we're really going to move Elton from left guard to center, this seems like a really, really good plan to plug and play somebody in that left guard.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that the offensive line got stronger. Now, here's the thing. Like, we can look at PFF and go, yeah, it graded out bad, right? Like Jacob said, though, look at how effective the 49ers offense has been the last few years, not specifically last year with all the stuff they dealt with, but, the 2 years prior, they were running the ball down people's throats, right? Brock Purdy was sitting in the pocket and picking people apart. Like, you guys know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think he's a legit top 10 quarterback. When you look at that, right, and the fact that what this tells me, and I kind of said this last night and we'll move on, it tells me Goody had an extremely high draft grade on Aaron Banks when he was coming out in the draft, and it tells me he likes what he's seen on tape from the last 4 years. Period, case closed. I could give a rat's ass what PFF thinks if the general manager who continues to put out playoff team after playoff team with the youngest roster in the league is saying, oh, this is the guy worth the money. And I want to say this too. He's also the guy, I think I had a tweet here ready. I may not have shared it. I did not share it. It talked about I think it went through the top 25 most valuable contracts, basically meaning these players are worth the money the most, right? Rasheed Walker, I think, was 10th, and Zach Thomas 20th. So if Goody is so good at finding these gems at offensive line in the draft, why are we not trusting him to make a signing like this in free agency? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't go, man, he knocked Rasheed Walker out of the park. Man, he knocked Zach Tom out of the park. You can't say those things and then in the very next breath go, boy, he screwed up this signing. Like, what are we, you know what I mean? That's where I try to take a step back, remove the ego, and go, okay, I don't know everything. I can watch the tape and give my opinion, but when a team shells out that kind of money with a contract, now on the surface, it looks like what it basically is saying, if you perform well, you're going to be here and make damn good money. If not, we're going to get rid of you after 1 or 2 years. It just seems like a win-win for me. And you really raise that floor tremendously with that interior offensive line. And like Tim said, being able to kick Elton over to center, That's exciting to me, guys. Elton at center, if he plays the way he has at guard at his best football, and to the best of my knowledge, it's easier to play center than it is guard. That's the way I've always understood it. It's easier to play guard than it is tackle. It's easier to play center than it is guard, but you do got to be able to snap the ball and handle those things, which Elton did in college. Who was the last great center we had in Green Bay? Think. Who was it?
Frank Winters.
Lindsley?
Tim went all the way back. Lindsley's probably the one that I really go, yeah, that dude, So how long ago was that? Over a decade?
Yeah. And he was another converted guard, correct?
I think he might have been. I'm not 100% sure.
I thought Lindsley started as a guard.
All I'm saying is this might be the best center we've had in Green Bay in the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years. If that's the case, who knows what's going to happen with this interior? Maybe we finally got the true mix you need to compete with people like Philly, and hold up on the interior for sure. Let's see here. H.E. Solder with a super chat. Thank you so much, sir. He says, missed out on the free agent vertical threats. Are they now locked into Dante Thornton? Ooh, top size and speed for the draft because the offense kind of sucks without a vertical threat that lacks size. That's a great question. I'm going to propose something here real quick, and this is the perfect segue there. Solder, appreciate you for the super chat there, man. Let me get your all's take on what he asked here, and I'm going to kind of tee up the next segment as you guys wrap up.
I think that we're definitely going to have to. I mean, I know Tim is absolutely on board with a certain player that fits that prototype. I did bring up Dante Thornton from Tennessee. There's a couple others. I mean, even Isaac Tesla, 6'4", good speed. Pat Bryant, a few others that kind of fit that mold. Jack Besh, so there's guys in this draft. I don't think we have to freak out yet and say that we have to draft this or have to do that. I would like to see somebody with a little more size to obviously replace the Christian Watson hole that is in that room. But I'm not super worried about it just because there are a lot of deep receivers that fit that bill. So I'll let Tim go ahead and talk about Jaden Higgins.
No, you're right. I love Jaden Higgins for sure. But Dante Thornton Jr. is definitely on the radar. So is Trey Harris. That's another guy we talked about, Trey Harris out of Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah.
You and I both like Jalen Royals out of Utah State.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of receiver talent here, but I do agree with Mr. Soder here in the super chat. I don't know if I'd say we're locked into a Dante Thornton type size and speed type of guy because we've talked about Jalen Noel and, a couple other guys that are a little bit smaller stature that also might be available. But I do have the feeling that given the lack of pursuit of these receivers in free agency, that we're definitely grabbing us one, possibly two in this draft, depending on how well Goody cooks.
Right. Yeah. Savion Williams was another one too from TCU. That guy's 6'5", 215, beast.
Yeesh.
Yeah, and when we look at our draft board, here's what we've got in terms of wide receiver. Top wide receiver in the number 7 spot is Tet McMillan out of Arizona. He would fit that mold perfectly, but as we talked about, there's about 6 different teams that'll probably take him before the Packers can get to him, right? Then we drop down to Emeka Egbuka. When you mention somebody like Emeka Egbuka or Luther Burden, people immediately say they're slot receivers, Clayton. I've said this for a long time now, and I don't know of anyone else who's talking about it. We just assume that Jaden Reed can only play slot. That's what everybody just talking. Well, he's a slot. We don't need another slot. We don't need another slot. Jaden Reed in college, as I show here, and we've talked about this multiple times, and I'm going to drop this down again. Solder, thank you so much for the super chat, bro. We appreciate you. If you guys can see this, I don't know if you can or not. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. So in college, and this is what I said in the tweet here. I said when speaking about finding the next, I think I said wide receiver. I don't know why that's popping up there. I don't want to promote that, bub. Don't need to. All right. Okay. Anyway, whether it be in the draft or free agency, I said you always hear, quote, we already have a slot receiver. Jaden Reed played a ton of Z in college and actually more snaps out wide than he did in the slot. He can do both well. So you look at his snaps from college, guys. His final year in college, 291 snaps out wide and 84 in the slot. Tim, you remember we broke down the tape when we drafted him. I'm like, oh, this dude ain't just a slot. He can play Z. He can stretch the field vertically. And he's got he can track the ball as well as anyone on deep balls. There's no doubt about it. Now, you go to his best year in college, 82.2, that's 345 snaps out wide. Okay. They ran dagger a lot. And that was the route I seen the most, was him just getting vertical, and then he'd run that deep dig. He can run those routes that it takes to play on the outside. Now, does he have the size? Jordy Nelson was over 6'2", right? Romeo Doubs is over 6'2". I'm trying to think who else. There was somebody else that I had looked up as well. A good kind of deep receiver was over 6'2". Anyway,
James Jones.
He may have been. Yeah, I'm not sure his exact measurements. But the point is, yeah, it's ideal to have a 6'2" or up wide receiver, right? Going deep and running those deep routes. But, man, I put a highlight reel together because somebody said that's college, but I can't remember. They were smart. There was a smart-ass comment. It was like, that's in college. That's different. I took 3.5 minutes and found about 12 clips of him running deep routes and making contested catches. He can do it. So my point is, if the board falls just right, whether it's the first round, second round, third round, seventh round, and the best player on the board is a slot, I don't think they're looking at going, nope, we can't use him. Jaden's our slot. When we were leading last year and we pulled our starters out, guess who went to the F, essentially our motion slot guy? We seen Bo Melton do it, right? Christian Watson did it his rookie year, and I know Christian's hurt him. Just the point is, he wants more people, he being Matt LaFleur, he wants more people to be able to play F and play that position, but you've got to learn the choice route. You've got to know that. If they land someone, and that's why when Cooper Kupp was mentioned, everybody's like, well, we don't need a slot. He is a slot receiver, absolutely. Imagine Cooper Kupp in the slot for a year or two, and he's, as you're hearing my voice, he's probably already been signed, to be honest with you. I don't know. It sounds like his market was heating up earlier. If you throw him in the slot and put Jaden at Z, and now you got Romeo Doubs playing X along with Malik Heath and Dontavion Wicks, is it DK Metcalf? Absolutely not. Is it, another name, whoever? He's no Jamar Chase. There's not many of those out there, A.J. Browns, right? But the point is, we've got options, and you can stretch the field vertically with Jaden Reed. You can do it. Go back and watch that catch in triple coverage against the Rams. Yeah. I mean, go to his rookie year, game on the line, think play or not play. And what did he do? Made a diving catch against the Saints his rookie year to keep that drive alive, and they go right down and win the damn ball game.
Yep.
Like, I'm just saying, we got to get out of this mode of, nope, he's just a slot. He's just a slot. He's just a slot. I promise you the coaches aren't looking at it like that. They're not going into every game going, well, nope, that's all he can do. Like Coach Lynn says, Cooper can play F. Yes, he can, man. And I'm
if Reed was just a slot, I don't think they ever would have drafted him.
Right, exactly. Right. I believe that too. Jake Shavink said Garrett Wilson and Lad McConkey are 5'11", and I think you can argue they can play X. We're in a new era. No reason that Reed can't play Z. I'll tell you another one too, Jake. When I was looking at the heights of pass receivers, another one, Greg Jennings, 5'11", right? It's possible. Not ideal. It's possible. If Jaden Higgins is there, take him. I'll be okay with that too. But I'm simply saying if the board lines up and there's a slot receiver there, or if free agency falls just right here in the latter stages and you go, man, that's a solid slot receiver. Well, we can't take him because we don't need a slot. That's just silly thinking. It really is, man.
Quick update. We have now surpassed our goal. We are at, I believe, 11 super chats. 2-0 for this says draft a long snapper.
That's all.
And follows it up with boy. Follows that up with grilling on the roof.
Big boy grilling on the roof.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Bates.
Brambo just threw it in there just to round her out here. So
all right, so we hit our goal. We're definitely doing a mock draft, and thank you all for the super chats for sure. We appreciate y'all more than you know. So let me just ask you guys, what do you think about Cooper Kupp? How would you feel about Cooper Kupp? Because now Ian Rappaport said on the Insiders right before we went live, he said, man, Cooper Kupp's market's really heating up. Where do you think that information came from?
Cooper Kupp's agent.
Exactly. Y'all said it perfect. Now, I'm not saying it won't surpass, $10 million or $15 million. But if you can get him for, somewhere around $10 million for a couple of years and get out of it after 1 year, throw him in the slot, flex Jaden out to Z, draft you a receiver, right? Who knows? Jake will like this. Maybe Colston Loveland falls in your lap and you draft him at tight end and you do a little flexing and moving around and,
How are we going to keep my boy Malik Heath on the roster then, man?
He's the goon, isn't he? We got to keep the goon.
That's my dude.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about it, man? What would be let me ask you this. What would be the price? Jacobs is going to be $3.2 million. What is going to be the price, Jacob, for you that you go, hey, I'd take Cooper Kupp on for that?
12 or below.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. I think 10 is the number for me.
Yeah.
If the market is hot, if it is hot, probably going to get outbid pretty quick. But if you look up and go get Cooper Kupp for $8 million per, shoot, yeah, sign me up, man. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I'm a little lower. I'm somewhere in that 10 million range.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we know he's not going to go below that, right? I don't see him signing somewhere for less than 10 million. But then again, I'm not an expert. We've seen crazier things, right? We didn't think Khalil Mack was going to sign for 18 million, right? And that's exactly what happened. So, but I'm with you, Clay. I'm somewhere around 10.
Got it. Jake Shavink said Evan Ingram's signing with Denver helps the Loveland to 23 agenda a little. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I want to say it was some kind of crazy stat. Jake probably knows it. The number of snaps that Evan Ingram took in the slot was like crazy. So,
yeah.
There are teams that are still doing that in the NFL. I know we got away from that slot bully a little bit when the league went away from the West Coast spread and pressed into the Shanahan tree of the wide zone boot. But it's still there. It's still alive and well, I think, in certain places. So, again, Cooper Kupp, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, a little Jaire update here as Rob Demoski tweeted this out earlier today. I just said, confirm the Packers have not asked Jaire Alexander to restructure his contract. To me, I said that's very interesting, as Rob Demoski had reported. As the start of the new year, as of the start of the league year moments ago, there's been no movement with Jaire Alexander. They have not asked him to restructure his deal, not that he would anyway, so the wait continues. So what does it mean that the Packers have not even asked him, hey, would you like to stay for a restructure? That can mean a multitude of things. It could be that Goody's okay with keeping him on the roster at what we got, right? It could be that he's not even going to bother doing it because he's gotten enough offers, whether it's between the combine and to now, that, hey, I'm definitely going to pull the trigger on one of these, but let's just wait it out and see if someone's not happy with the way free agency went and they'll pay a little bit more. Could be one of those things. I want to get your all's take on it. What do y'all think this means here? The fact that a restructure, he's not been asked to restructure that deal.
I think it means get ready for some more.
Took it down the sideline, turned over with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
It's been a roller coaster watching Tim this offseason because it's like he ain't going nowhere, and then it got really loud.
Then it's 50-50. Now it's kind of –
you can see you just kind of accept it like, damn, Josh gone. Kind of sucks, And now it's back
accepting that as a possibility, but now my hopes are back up again.
Right.
And if he's healthy, man, hey, let's go, man. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Hey, the thought of him being healthy and Nate Hobbs on the other side, and now we got extra depth with the slot. If Nate Hobbs beats Keyshawn out for that other outside spot or vice versa, and Nate Hobbs kicks to the slot, you're a better football team with Jaire on the field, there's no doubt. But Jacob, like we talked about, he's just not been on the field,
Yeah, and I'm going back and forth too. Sutter said get Michael Mayer. I kind of like that, but just real quick on Ja. Like Go Pack Go says real quick. He says just keep Alexander. It only saves $7 million letting him go. If that's the case, and if he's willing to play, I need to get an idea of where his head's at, because going into this year, like if he's not on board, if he's not bought in, if he's not ready to go back to the jaw of old and really be a contributor and not somebody that's going to be a weight or a cancer or any sort of distraction from what the goal is of this team, then I want him gone. If he's ready to be all in again and revamp that career, I want him here real bad. But I got to know. I have no idea which way the wind's blowing right now, and that to me is frustrating, and it's cause for concern.
No, I completely understand that. Solder with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, to hell with the wide receiver market, Tim. Get Michael Mayer in here. Hey, Michael Mayer is your tight end number 2. Sign me up. You guys know I'm a Notre Dame guy. The fact that they drafted Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers just, he snatched that job away from him. I don't see that as a negative for Michael Mayer. I don't. The question is, what would it take to get him, But that's one way we can combat this whole thing, too, is press into 12 a little bit more as opposed to going out there in 11 personnel,
Absolutely. Or we can just draft Harold Fannin Jr. We'll be good, right?
There you go. There you go. Again, thank you for the super chat, Soder. For those of you listening on the pod, that's going to do it for hour 1. We will see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all. All right, welcome into hour 2. Let's continue to dive in here. Tim, you're going to love this. I know you mentioned it earlier. They're going to get to the Patreon group, and then we got a mock draft to do, boys. You guys remember this, and I got to be careful. I'm not going to play the video, but I'm pulling a screen grab up here. You guys remember this? Actually, we got the soundbite, don't we, Tim? Don't we still got this soundbite?
You hurt me, Brett.
I remember that, right? I said, well, this took quite the twist. So ML Football had tweeted this out, right? Let me try to give you guys the backstory as best I know. This is Mark Gastineau, who you guys may or may not know. He was the sack holder, the sack leader. Sack holder. That sounded bad, Jacob. He was the sack leader. You know, he held that record for a long time until Michael Strahan broke it. Now, when Michael Strahan broke it, he broke it because Brett Favre allegedly laid down and took a sack.
Oh, that's what he did.
Yeah, I'm one of these people that believe he did do that, okay?
You watch him before the play. He walks up to him and whispers in his ear, and then
and he's smiling as he's going to the ground.
Right.
And like, So anyway, what Gastineau was upset about, this old bag, he's all upset because he's saying it cost him money not being the sack leader for so long and all that, right? So he confronts Brett at an autograph session, and he says, "Tim,
you hurt me, Brett."
He said that, and it was so embarrassing watching it happen.
And Brett looked at him like, "Are you serious?"
Right. And it literally, the other guy was like, "We gotta finish." Brett's like walking off in astonishment, like, "This is unbelievable."
You hurt me, Brett.
So,
to be fair,
anyway,
Brett actually apologized and was very like,
yeah.
Right.
He consoled him. He's like, "Hey, man, I never wanted to do that. Like, I didn't mean for that to happen." Like, he actually was pretty understanding.
Right. So you're probably wondering who was filming this, right? Who was filming this?
Should be comment of the night right there. Gastineau class.
I love it.
You hurt me, Brett.
So ESPN was filming this interaction, right? And it was for a documentary for the Sack Exchange, which Gastineau was a part of with the Jets back in the day. That was a nickname for their pass rush. Long story short, you go in there, and they're trying to make Brett look really bad is what they're doing. Can we be honest here? ESPN is trying to make Brett Favre look really bad on this video. Well, it immediately backfires because we got the best sound clip in the history of Packer podcasts now. So everybody's looking at Gastineau like, I don't know whether to laugh at him or feel sorry for him. This is pitiful the way he's acting here. Like, it's like a little child, right?
You hurt me, Brett.
Sound like he was going to cry. So anyway, here's the breaking news. I tried to set up the backstory to give you guys a breaking news. ML Football said breaking. That's right. Jets legend Mark Gastineau is suing ESPN now for $25 million after they posted a video of his altercation with Brett Favre. Mark claims that they caused irreparable, how would you say that? Irreparable. There you go. Damage to his reputation, and he has been attacked on social media for it. I wonder who that was, Tim. What burner attacked him? Was it yours, sir?
Oh, it was not my burner. I don't have a burner.
Tim said, I just did it
publicly attacked it. Yeah, no problem.
You hurt me, Brett.
So how funny is it? ESPN obviously sets up the camera to try to embarrass Brett Favre, and I'm sure there's political bias and reasons there as well. So they go and try to attack Brett. It backfires. Gastineau gets made fun of, and now Gastineau is suing ESPN. Welcome to 2025, baby.
You think God never farted?
What are your all's thoughts on this? Because this cracked me up, man.
It's peak 2025. You got a guy that's past his prime that apparently has nothing else in his life to do than to kind of set up some weird like gotcha moments, and then once he realized, oh no, I kind of look like a D-bag, and then people start getting in his DMs and posting on his Twitters and all that, I'm sure he finally was like, oh God, who can I grift now? Who do I point the proverbial barrel towards? And I think he's set his sights on ESPN. And to be honest, I got no love for ESPN. I don't care if he milks them for every dollar they're worth. I think that organization has went down the drain the last 10 years. But that being said, I don't like to see anybody, do I agree with him that it sucked probably losing his record that way? 100%. I'd be upset too, but I wouldn't set up a camera and be like, this is about to get real, and then play the victim afterwards.
Yeah. And then cry about it 30 years later.
30 years, yeah.
Coach Lynn says, Tim, we all know your burner account is Slick Rick.
You hurt me, Brett.
What do you think, Tim? You got anything else to add to it?
I'll tell you what I think. I think somebody isn't getting as many autograph signing invitations as Brett is, and might be a little hard up on cash at this point, and is probably hoping ESPN settles out of court for whatever. I think if ESPN's smart, they'll probably let this play out, because I don't see this lasting in civil court very long, right? I mean, probably get tossed out pretty quickly. I mean, he was the one who cornered Brett. You know what I mean? Like, he was the one who started this whole interaction. You don't get to like start something, and then when someone responds, now you're claiming you're a victim. So, well, I don't know. I think he's hoping they'll settle.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. You guys know that. But is this one of those situations where if they proceed with the court hearings or the trial, that they would eventually get to discovery, and they can be like, all right, Mark, give us all your texts, your communications, your emails. ESPN will do the same. We'll see actually if there was any sort of cahoots that you guys were in trying to make this a thing, create some drama. Was there a pre-plan? Because if that's the case, I think Mark is going to even be getting a little more Twitter comments on his posts, because he'll look like an absolute idiot.
You hurt me, Brett.
I just want to make a comment on the chat here real quick, and we're not going to put this stuff on the screen, but Respect Orange has handled that situation so perfectly in the chat. If you guys get a chance to check that.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, all right, let's move it along here from the drama. And I do want to say, like, Brett handled it with absolute class. Like, the way he literally, you could tell he was embarrassed for the guy. He even played him compliments, like, you probably hurt me, like, joking. We know, you see those pythons on Brett, he'd have hit that dude in the jaw and it'd been over. It would have been over. So anyway, there you go. There's your TMZ report. Again, give us that breaking news sound drop one more time, Tim, as we exit the drama. All right, let's move on to the Patreon group. Then we got a mock draft to do.
Wait, can we sneak one thing in before we go on to Patreon? You still got your Twitter pulled up?
Yeah, man. What's up?
Jacob was asking on last night's show, 43 days away from the draft. I'm wondering if you can pull up.
I was trying to think. Is it our old safety, Morgan Burnett? No, he was 40
tomorrow, buddy. That's 42.
He said that's tomorrow, buddy. All right, you ain't ready for this one, Jacob. This one cracked me up, man. He went
ready for this one, Jacob.
Deep in the ball. Let me find it. Where you at?
He's gonna find it. He'll pull it up. We gotta go way back into time. You will be happy to know that he did go to college at Wisconsin. But we're gonna take it all the way back to 1933.
Oh, for Lord's sake!
Right here, bang!
Charles Buckets Goldenberg
on the carry.
Played for the Packers from 1933 to 1945. So
Does he not look like AJ Hawk's uncle?
He does.
Kind of, yeah. 43 days away though, so that's your pick of the day. And yeah, you blew my surprise for tomorrow. So Morgan Burnett will be tomorrow's post for sure.
Great job, Jacob.
Dang it, Tim. All I can think of now is that voice.
Right?
It's Charles Buckets Goldenberg. You see, fighting crime, and he'll be on the war to Japan, the fight in the Pacific.
Yeah, it broke me up tonight.
Look
at this dude. This is the epitome of the advice I got as a young man: was never pick a fight with an ugly person.
Yeah, they ain't got nothing to lose.
They ain't got nothing to lose. You imagine walking up to that dude trying to hit him in the jaw. Like, look at this guy. He probably just worked 12 hours in the mines and came out there and threw the football uniform on.
He looks like he ate a bowl of chainsaws for breakfast, man.
That's
pure grit right there.
And how did he get the nickname Buckets? That's what I need to know.
I mean, look at that mug, man. It's got to be that, right?
Prince said Buckets was a milkman in the office.
Spends his time delivering milk and being a volunteer firefighter. It's Charles Buckets Goldenberg.
Unbelievable. God, that's great. I'm gonna have to put that in the studio, man. I'm gonna have to frame that one and put it in the studio. All right, now on to the Patreon group. Tim, thank you for bringing that up, man. I needed that bad. All right. If you guys want to join the Patreon group, just go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access or scan the QR code in the upper right. If you're a member of one of the 3 tiers, you get access to all of the chats as well as entered into the giveaways. We're going to be doing a giveaway this Saturday, giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey, just like this one right here. We got all kinds of other cool giveaways coming up. It's just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel.
Clay,
this is one of the chats you get access to. Go ahead, Jake.
Sorry, can you put the picture of Buckets back up for 1 second?
We need to save it. I actually already exited it out. Jeff.
That's fine. That's fine. It's just too old for this. Does it look like Todd Packer? It did look like Todd Packer.
It did, didn't it? It did look like Todd Packer. There's so many one-liners I want to say right now, but
you
I'm
can't.
Not
That's why you can't.
You'll get canceled, no doubt. So let's start it off here with our professional Patreon group and Moist Butter. All right. Moist Butter says, Nebraska Rev, can we get a Go Big Red Huskers for Green Bay is real. So evidently we got some Husker fans in there. All right. Josh Martin says, I was listening to Wildy and Tausch yesterday. This is great. I was going to mention this yesterday and I didn't. I was listening to Wildy and Tausch yesterday. Wildy reported that his source, who is a high front officer, I think he meant front office person. I don't think he meant he was high either. He means he's high up in the front. I don't think somebody at 1265 smoking weed. That's what I'm saying. Okay, everybody calm down. A high up person in front office that the Packers are still on trading for Max Crosby. So if that's the case, what do you think it would take to get him in his contract and cap hit? Now, I want to preface this. And Josh Martin, I heard the same exact thing, man. Thank you for bringing it up. Wildy said, I want to be clear. I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is strange that it's even reported because they just gave out a boatload of guaranteed money to him that they would have to forfeit, to the best of my knowledge, depending on how the contract's structured. But it was just weird that Wildy said, because Tauscher pushed on him a little bit, and he was like, no, this is a pretty high-ranking person in the front office. And then Tauscher tried to give him to get details like he usually does, and Wildy would not give details on who it was. So this is crazy. Like, why would that person – first of all, is it feasible based off the contract? I don't have all the information. I imagine it's highly, highly unlikely. But the second part is, why would that person leak that information out? What benefit do you get from leaking that information out? Maybe to steer the conversation away from like a Trey Hendrickson or something. So it's like, okay, get that little birdie out there so other teams think, okay, the Packers aren't in on Trey Hendrickson and maybe they actually are. You understand what I'm saying? Like I immediately try to reverse engineer things like this and go, what does this mean? But Josh is not lying. Wildy reported this on his show and was like, this is really bizarre that this guy told me this. What do y'all think?
Max Crosby's going to make a comeback, apparently. Tim's going to have to I tell you what. There you go, Greg.
There it is. Greg Rice has got it. There you go.
It evolves every time somebody tops it out. Like there's a couple of
I don't see it as a reality. I don't get it. I just don't get it personally, but I don't get it.
All right. Dynamite drop in. Tim, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like Jacob does. Like, honestly, a lot of this stuff, I just one ear out the other because it's like there's just no way to verify any of it. Like you said, like, what is the point? Like, let's assume that is true. Like, how does that benefit the Green Bay Packers to leak that kind of information out? Right. So, yeah, I don't know. And no, I don't think it's a realistic deal. And honestly, at this point, so he's got a new deal, right?
Right.
So why the hell would we trade for him now? That is like, I just don't understand the logic. So,
yeah, I don't either. Again, though, I just wanted to confirm Josh heard that correctly. That's exactly how he reported it. Now, with the question he asked, if that's the case, what do you think it would take to get him? I don't think there's anything that would get him. Now, here's what Mark Tauscher said, and he was being sarcastic, but he was kind of being serious too. If they give him all that guaranteed money, what are we going to give up? 30 first-round picks in a row? Like, you know what I mean? It means they're going to have to eat that cost if that's the case.
No.
I'm talking about like Ricky Williams level stuff.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it happening, but thank you for bringing that up, though, Josh. Appreciate you, man. Here we go. Randy Cleavers in the Patreon. Do you think the Packers will try to get Hendrickson from the Bengals? How do you guys feel about that? Because there's been a lot of people talk about it. It's totally doable. I think they said that it was a second rounder. Now they're saying they want a first rounder. Now listen, if they say they want a first rounder, it means they would take a second rounder. That's typically how trade negotiations go. I would be on board with it to give up a second round pick for Trey Hendrickson. If you get 2, maybe 3 good years out of him, you're not going to find Trey Hendrickson in the second round unless
2026 second round pick. I don't see Goody coming off any of these picks this year.
I don't either. Really don't. What do you think, Jacob? You think we got a legit shot to go after Hendrickson?
No, I don't. I would like it. I'd be willing to give a second rounder. I would. I think Hendrickson is that good of a player. I just don't see it in the cards actually happening.
There's so much defeat in your voice just now, man. I mean, it was just.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper in a way?
Jake Shabink says defensive line edge, defensive line in the mock instead. So he's saying, hell with that Trey Hendrickson talk. Let's just get the D line taken care of. We're going to use Consensus Big Board or mock draft databases, draft simulator here in a minute. Let me tell you something, boys. Little tip here, in my opinion. I've done a couple of them on that site. There's plenty of good edges outside of the first round. It's wild. Like that, I ended up taking 3 edges in one draft because they were all in my top 100 too, which was wild. So we'll handle that in a minute. Josh Martin also said, any good centers left in free agency? How are the centers in the draft? I'm open to signing a center or drafting one and have the line look like Walker, Banks, free agent, or draft the center, Jenkins, then Tom. So he's looking at it more along the lines of, what if we had the right center fall into place? We haven't talked about that. That's possible. If Goody falls in love with one of these centers, outside of it could be inside the top 100. Hell, it could be Gray Zabel. What if Gray Zabel's sitting there in the second or third round somehow, some way, and Goody's got a first-round grade on him or similar, a top 32 grade, whatever you want to call it, and he pulls the trigger and drafts Gray Zabel, and then you get into camp and you're looking for your best 5. What if your best 5 did end up being Walker, Banks, Zabel, Jenkins, and Tom? How cool would that be, man?
That'd
or
be
vice versa, if you want.
Great problem to have, wouldn't it?
You take that negative that we dealt with in the Eagles game, and all of a sudden now you flip it to a positive, right?
Yep.
So, what do you think?
And you hit it on the head, Clayton, where, camp is going to determine that, right? You're going to see how this team's going to start to build that line out once we, get through the draft and everything and figure out who the personnel is going to be. But I think that's a great point. I don't know about the centers that are left in free agency right now. I think all the decent ones got snatched up, right? Pretty much at this point.
I've got one interesting gentleman that Chat, help me out and fact check me if I'm talking out of my butt. Coleman Shelton. I believe that he may have played for the Bears or LA, the Rams. In 2024, he played 1,121 snaps, graded out a 66.4. That's the 12th out of 40 centers. 2023 had 1,100 plus snaps, graded a 66.1, 17th out of the centers. But if you dive a little bit deeper, he has a pass blocking grade of 68.4. Run blocking grade of 66.7, only allowed 3 sacks, only had 4 penalties, and he has almost basically never came off the field the last 2 years straight. 6'4", 299, 29 years old. He is on the Rams right now.
So question for you. Do you like him better than your boy Moynham out of USC?
Jonah?
Or do you like him better than Gray Zabel?
I don't know yet. They're college players. I know that he has graded decently the last 2 years in the top.
I guess
half
what
of the league.
I'm asking in the sense of, would you want a 29-year-old center, or would you rather go draft one of these guys?
Why can't I do both?
Because we're running out of room. We can't keep all these guys.
Jacob said we could keep 3 receivers. It'd be fine.
I mean, I hate to say it to Emilio, but I'm sorry if Glover ain't on the list, bro. I'm not gonna be mad. Even if guys like Monk or Donovan Jennings or whatever.
Emilio's not here to defend his boy.
I like how he waited till Emilio got out of the country and then he started badgering the hell out of Travis Glover, man. Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, Coleman might have already re-signed with LA or something like that, but PFF isn't great at updating their list here of who has been signed and who hasn't been signed. But I mean, honestly, that was the only other person that I even thought was a possibility. Otherwise, I'm down for the draft. I'd love Gray Zabel. That's kind of becoming my biggest draft crush right now.
Yeah, I can see it, man. Brambo in the chat, we need to gather up as many offensive line and defensive line talent we can grab. I agree with that 100%. Got to build those trenches out for sure. All right, again, thanks to everybody in the Patreon group. You guys are awesome over there. You always provide extra content for us, and it's great having those conversations with you.
My guy signed with the Rams yesterday anyway, so poop on that.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah. Poop on that, he said. I don't want to pat you on the butt and you poop in my hand.
I don't want to pat you on the butt and you poop in my hand. So
yo, good job. Good job,
Nice.
Tim. All right, let's do it. So here we go. We're going mock draft database simulator. Make sure we got 7 rounds. We're going to go fast. No trading. We go with it, guys. No trading. Well, no, their trade system works good. They offer a few trades. You can accept them and keep moving. There's no jockeying back and forth. So we might accept them. We won't rule it out completely. You ready for this? Ready?
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yeesh.
Cool. Let's enter the draft room. And hopefully it doesn't bog down. That's one of the reasons why I don't use this one, is because sometimes this happens. But here we go. All right. So we're picking 23rd, obviously. Let's go ahead and simulate. We don't want to trade up, at least at this point, right, guys? We're just going to keep this thing moving. Where's the start button? Where are we up top here? Here we go. All right. So as we approach the 23rd pick, it looks like we have a trade offer. The Lions said they'll give us number 28, that's 5 spots back, and number 60 for the 23rd pick. That's actually pretty tempting. Let's look at the next one here. The Bills, look at this.
There we go. That looks like a goody deal right here.
30, they're saying trade down 7 spots, pick up 30, 62, 173, 204, and then next year's 7th round pick. That's the best one so far.
Wow.
All right. That would be the one to accept. Do we want to accept that, or do we want to stick and pick at 23, boys? What are we thinking?
I feel like that's super unrealistic.
Jacob, why you always got it? All right, we're going to stick and pick then.
I'm just saying.
All right, Jacob.
We're going to draft Buckets Goldenberg in the first round.
Right away, look who's at the top of the list there.
I know it. I'm going to get a custom Packers jersey. I was just
going to say, we know Shavink's pick, and there it is right on cue. Got to go Loveland.
The question is everybody on board with that? I need to know in the chat, would you guys be okay with Colston Loveland here? And let me plead Jake's case here from our draft board perspective, okay? We've got him in the 15 spot, okay? Now, we've got James Pierce Jr. in the 10 spot. And that's what I was talking about with edges. It seems like it always worked out really, really nice. Josh Simmons, tackle, we've got in the 20 spot. Walter Nolan, we've got in the 24 spot. So if we went strictly off the board, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee would be our best prospect. And we don't have to do this. I'm going to let Tim and Jacob make the final decision. I'm just giving the information. But Colston Loveland would be the second best prospect available if I'm looking at it correctly here. And that is in the 15 spot. Gentlemen, state your case. You won't pick here, man.
James Pierce Jr.
Okay.
That's just
ditto. You know me. I don't think my bias towards the defensive side of the ball is any secret to anyone who's watched the show. I like going defense here. I think I'd go with Pierce, but I don't disagree with Shavink at all that Loveland would be a hell of a pick. I just feel like I'd rather get better on defense early in this draft.
Have we heard Coach Lynn says Pierce would be the pick, but character concerns scare me. Is there character issues, or is that more of the Lion season stuff?
Yeah, see, that's the main negative that you see with Pierce. But when we dug into it, I don't see anything there. And I understand what Coach is saying. Like, you're taking a pick that high, you know. Yeah, you want to make sure the character is all right. But I couldn't find really anything with it.
What about Walter Nolan then?
Walter Nolan's my second pick if we had to.
Looks like the majority of people are saying Pierce, like as JJ says here, Pierce or trade back. I want to ask Jake Shavink. Jake Shavink in the chat, as quickly as you could type it in. Everybody keep throwing your picks in real quick so we know what you guys are thinking. What do you think about James Pierce Jr., Jake? Where would you have James Pierce Jr.? The Packers met with him. He's the highest on our board of players that the Packers met with. Do you think in the 10 spots too high? I know Kyle Krabs had him in the 13 spot. Daniel Jeremiah had him at 20, so they're both on board. Dane Brugler, 21. They would all be on board with us taking him in the 23 spot. They don't have him quite as high as me. I want to know what Jake thinks. Where would you have James Pierce? Do you think that would be all right to take? Here we go. Oh, sorry. James Pierce Jr. is great, probably edge 3 for me, but Green Bay's issue will be that he's 245 pounds, so maybe a little too light. A little too light there. All right, boys. Y'all going to make the final decision here. What is and it looks like Coach Lynn said he had anger issues. Am I the only one that gets excited when I hear that?
Right. Especially with an edge defender. Let's go.
Hey.
I mean, he's no Buckets Goldenberg, but, you know.
All right, what's your pick, boys? Let's do it.
think I'm going to stick with Pierce.
All right. Tim, your pick?
Yeah, I'm backing Jacob up on this. We're going Pierce.
All right, we're gonna go James Pierce Jr. Jake's gonna be so mad at us, man. James Pierce Jr. with the 23rd pick. So we got us an edge defender to rotate in and out. He's gonna have to get some cheese curds in him. You know what I mean? Gonna have to hit the quick trip, get some of those glazers, all that good stuff. So
cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
All right, here we are at pick 54. The best on the board according to the NFL mock draft database is cornerback Benjamin Morrison, Jaire Alexander, defensive lineman out of Toledo, Marcus Bowe, interior offensive lineman out of Purdue, Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU, and wide receiver Alec Onyemanor out of Stanford. Any positions you boys want to see here?
Alexander.
Oh, that would be my gut reaction. It would be Jaire Alexander, but I do like my boy from Tulsa East High School, Bo. Bit of a reach, though, probably taking him here, I think.
And for my board, both of those would be a reach. Bo would be a reach, and also we've got Jaire Alexander in the 76th spot. But this is your all's draft. I'm just going to pick them here. Looks like the chat is kind of conflicted here. I see Morrison, Onyemanor, not Alexander. Okay, anybody but Alexander. Coach Lynn says Alexander. David C says Morrison. Alexander. Yeah, it looks like.
Is Higgins still on the board, or is he gone?
Who's that?
Jaden Higgins.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins is there.
There's a guy that won't be there at 87.
Well, he would not be there at 87. You are correct, sir. You are correct. So we've got Jaden Higgins. I want to say he climbed up the board a little bit for us. Where's he at now? We've got him in the 52 spot. So our board checks out for Higgins here, boys.
I honestly would love Higgins. I just think it's a better, like you said, Alexander. I have seen more into the third round range, and we've talked about how we definitely need a big bodied receiver. I like Higgins. I don't know why I can't say his name ever. It looks like the chat. The chat is going.
Tech, though.
I know, but Tim, can we look at the D line real quick?
Yeah, just 1 second here. I'm writing something down. I'm over balancing my checkbook. What did you want to say? Defensive line, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just look at
Alexander, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker.
And we could come back and get either Sanders, Deion Walker, or Oma Norman Lott. I think take your boy Jaden, man.
I think you're on board with NH10. Jaden Higgins.
Yes.
All right, on wide receiver out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins with the 54th pick. Again, our board checks out. That's right around where we've got him at, although the NFL mock draft database has him in the 62 spot. So we're going Jaden Higgins, wide receiver. All right, there's
you got to go D tackle. Come on now.
Straight A's, baby.
Big money, no whammy. Let's go.
Big money, no whammy.
Oh, we got a trade offer.
Oh, look at that.
So we got Kansas City offering us. Nah, we don't want that. We don't want
AFAM's team. No.
Exactly. Nah, we're good. Okay, best available halfback Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, quarterback Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Jordan Birch, edge defender out of Oregon, Isaiah Bond, wide receiver out of Texas, Josiah Stewart, edge out of Michigan. Got a lot of. This is what I was talking about. There's a lot of edge defenders here in the third round. You're going to see them, and a lot of these guys are like top 70 on our board, if I remember correctly. But what position would y'all like to see? Anything in
Wyatt Malone.
Boy, Wyatt Malone. Where's Wyatt Malone on our board? He is in the 55 spot for us. So that would be
a good pick right here.
That would be.
But then we're going to the fourth round with no defensive tackle.
Yep. Yeah. But we did get an edge defender, right? We got an edge. That's going to help the pass rush a little bit.
Can we look at the D line, please?
Yeah.
What do you think about Shamar Turner, Tim? Ooh.
Oh, the dude A&M, right?
So I still do. I love CJ West. I love Aeneas Peebles. Those are two guys that
we got Shamar Turner low. Let me see where we got Jamari Caldwell. We got him 155. CJ West we have in the 107 spot, so he's leading right now in the clubhouse. Peebles we have at 101. That's the new one. Peebles would be highest on my board. Pigs. Let's see here. Pigs.
So maybe we go O-line here. we get
Come around
Malum,
and
we get
one of the
Malum,
two.
and then we come back for a D lineman.
Yeah, like if we took it, like we said, CJ West, right? He actually, who was it? No, it was Peebles that was higher on our board, right? And the Packers met with Peebles too.
Yep.
The Packers met with him out of Virginia Tech. We got Peebles in the 101 spot, but like you said, Tim, we've got Wyatt Malum in the 57 spot. So.
I would pull the trigger on Malum.
All right. What do you think, Jacob? You okay with that?
I love it.
All right. Wyatt Malum out of West Virginia with the 87th pick. He was 80th on their board. They say it's good value. Our board says it's great value by as much as a full round. So Wyatt Malum out of West Virginia is
A+.
Look at that.
Nailed it. Crushed it.
Nailed it.
All right. So do we want to see if Peebles is still there now at defensive tackle? Is that the move here? Oh, look at this. We can trade back one spot and pick up a couple extra picks.
I just don't think it's real.
All right. Jacob said it's not real. He said it's fake. Fake news. You are fake news.
Oh, no.
Peebles is gone. All right. Let's just take a quick gander at these guys, though, real quick. Right. Who do we got here? Elijah Roberts. Elijah.
I like the two Notre Dame boys.
We got Elijah Roberts in the 106 spot.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Ty Hamilton. We got much lower. Vernon. We got
Deion Walker's off the board, really?
Vernon's in the 104 spot. Who was that first one? Elijah Roberts, right? Elijah Roberts, actually, we have him like 5 spots below where Peebles was, and he's just one tier lower. And you guys know we macro. I mean, we are very, very much so macro manage the tiers this year. Like, they're broken down probably twice as much as they should be. So my pick, if we were going D tackle, would definitely be Elijah Roberts here. But is there any other positions you want to see, boys?
Jay Cole says the Packers met with Roberts as well. Do you have that as a confirmation?
Really? They did. We got the cheese emoji, baby.
That's all the sign I need. Run the
What's
cards.
his measurables? Do you guys know what his measurables are?
I can pull them up.
Let me see. I can probably get it right here.
Here we go.
6'4", 295.
Yep, there you go.
All right.
Not a 3-tech.
Real heavy-handed, he said, too.
Yeah, so he's more of an edge, right?
We'll need that if Gastineau shows up to a game this year. You know what I'm saying? Got to be able to throw them bows. We good with it?
I don't know. Another edge guy?
Saying he's not a 3-tech is the big knock on him.
I mean, that's my knock on him.
So what is he? What's he play? Just A gap? Is that what you're saying?
Let's see. 2024, yeah. He only had one snap of the A gap, 7 in the B gap.
So you're saying he was a 290-pound edge defender?
That's what they've got him at, according to PFF. Although it wouldn't be the first time PFF didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Tim's losing faith in PFF.
He's getting
every week.
Can we look at the big board again and just see if we're maybe?
Yeah, give me just a second. Let me see if I can. I was wanting to see what Tim was talking about here. Yeah, B gap. You're right, man. Yeah, outside the tackle too. That's outside shoulder. That is 5 to 7 tech probably. That's interesting. Jake, what do you think about that, man? Jake says 290-pound edge rusher. Goody is salivating.
And once again, we have no 3-tech.
Yeah, I think you could put him at 3-tech at 290 pounds. That's me. I don't think, and again, he played for SMU, right? Man, those damn PFF grades, 91.3, 91.1. Jeez, Pete.
Where do they have Cam Horsley in this database as the D-line? Can you scroll down a little bit?
Let's see. Cam Horsley.
Wow, they do not like him. Oh, there he is.
314. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
PFF has him quite higher. Higher.
He's like 220 or something on PFF, right?
Yeah, 219.
Jake said if he's playing at 290, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to play 3. He definitely wouldn't be a nose, with all the edge experience. So probably a 3 to a 4 tech, I would imagine.
So he'd be best available if we want to go that route, right? Exactly. If we want to go D-line. Yep.
Yeah. Now,
what about Denzel Burke?
Denzel Burke. Let's see. Denzel Burke. I want to say he's a little bit lower on my board. Denzel Burke. Yeah, we got him in a 211 spot. Trapillo. The Packers. Oh my God, the Packers met with him. We got him 88.
Oof.
Oh wow. We just took a tackle too. We just took an offensive tackle.
Wyatt can play inside as well, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we have a history of taking tackles and moving them to guard. No doubt about that. Tootin is 132. Barrett Carter is 159. So, yeah, right here for me, it's
we had a question, actually.
God. Trapillo's 6'8", 309.
That's crazy.
Where did it go? Here we go. Clint asks, where do we have Ahmed Hassanin? Is that how you say that? On your board?
Boise State.
We've got him at 231.
231. Okay.
Yeah, he scored less than a 7 RAS. Not that that's, the be-all, end-all here, but he's 65th at his position in 2024. The consensus big board had him at 284, and the PFF big board had him at 122. We have no information from Daniel Jeremiah, Kyle Krabs, or Dane Brugler on him. So that's why he's significantly lower.
What do you guys think about Quincy Riley or Chris Paul Jr. here?
Quincy Riley, let's see. Quincy Riley, we have in the 214 spot. It'd be a hell of a reach, according to our report, anyway. And you say Chris Paul Jr. We've got him in the 103 spot.
Ooh.
So, yeah, pretty high up. So the best available for us right now, who was the D lineman we were just talking about? Elijah Roberts, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Elijah Roberts is in the 106 spot. All right. And then there was another guy too. I can't even remember. We've looked at so many positions now. What are we thinking, boys? So we've got a defensive lineman we could draft, right? We got a defensive lineman we could draft. We've got a linebacker we could draft that would make sense here in Chris Paul Jr. We just about make anything work. We got an offensive tackle that made sense. Out of those three positions, is there another position y'all would rather see? Or do y'all feel like one of those three is significant enough? If so, which one?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my D-line, man.
So who is it, Tim? You want to?
Well, it's got to be the edge. We got to take what was our best available again?
Elijah Roberts.
Yep.
They've got him listed, I think, as interior.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's PFF's got him as an edge.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I think. Let's see. Or is it the other way around? Yeah, PFF has him listed as an edge.
Yeah.
But I'm confident. If you guys are confident he can be moved inside, then
yeah, I would be very surprised if Elijah Roberts went to the NFL at 290 pounds and somebody put him at a 7 tech. I would be like, yeah, that's very, very rare, Okay. So that would be my pick.
Otherwise, I don't mind Stackhouse, like out of Georgia, like you mentioned, Jacob. But,
yeah,
Roberts is probably the better pick.
I'll say Roberts is probably the guy if we got to take one.
Yeah. And like you said, we already took Wyatt Malum. This makes sense. You get you a guy that can potentially play a 3 to 4 tech, right?
Yep.
This probably makes the most sense. So, yeah, let's go Elijah Roberts here. Defensive lineman out of SMU.
It's weird. PFF doesn't have anything on that guy, Elijah Roberts.
Mm-hmm. You talking about like?
Oh no, he does. They do. Oh wow,
Yeah, he was dominant, man. Dominant.
He graded out real well. 91.3 in 2023 off of 600 plus snaps. 91.1 in 2024. All right, Dan.
So far we've taken edge defender James Pierce Jr., wide receiver Jaden Higgins, offensive tackle Wyatt Malum, and defensive lineman Elijah Roberts. Does this not feel so much better not having to go, oh, crap, we needed a corner? You got Nate Hobbs now. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel a little bit better about this. We still need a corner. Don't get me wrong. But
we'll take Noel Williams right now.
Boom. Noel Williams time.
So if we got our offensive lineman already, right? We got one of them. So we still need a backup offensive lineman. We got our wide receiver. We got our 3 tech. We still need probably a couple corners, in my opinion, as it sits right now, because we don't know what's going to happen with Ja. And then, of course, you need 2 linebackers, right? So you were saying
Stoltenberg. We need one of those too.
Give me 3. Noel Williams is in the 179 spot for us. All right.
What about Zai?
Zy Frazier's even lower. Man, he's in the tank. Yeah, Zy Alexander at one point was fairly high. Oh, my goodness gracious, boys. 93. Zy Alexander's in the 93rd spot.
Put him on the board.
What do you think,
Run
Tim?
that card down there. Run that card.
That fits a need, don't it?
Ba-da-bam.
All right. So, with the 159th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Zy Alexander, cornerback out of LSU. Look at that A+.
A+, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. They feel sorry for us. Let's be real. All right. So, got us a corner now. Probably need to start looking at linebacker. Although, bringing back Isaiah McDuffie, that kind of makes you feel a little bit better about that situation too. You just need one backer, right?
Or
we could probably just key in on best available if y'all wanted to. So let's just go through here and see if a name catches your attention. Best available for everybody on the pod. Safety Sebastian Castro out of Iowa. Kyle McCord, quarterback out of Syracuse. Tight end Jake Brenningstool out of Clemson. Mitchell Evans, tight end out of Notre Dame. Jackson Halls, tight end out of Georgia Tech. Jalen Reed, safety out of Penn State, on and on and on. Any of these names grab your all's attention as we scroll down here?
Can you look at what we got left at linebacker just so we can get a gauge as to where they're falling?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Let's see. So Jay Higgins is the top one, then Shamar James, Kane Medrano, Jalen McLeod, Karen Reed, Tyreem Powell, Jalen Walker. Yeah, I want to say he was kind of high. Let me see where we've got Jay Higgins on our board now, because I know after his combine, many people are way down on him. Let's see if he's still fairly high on our board. How do y'all feel about Jay Higgins after the combine?
I loved him before the combine, and I know I shouldn't let myself get swayed, but he ran like he was carrying an anvil attached to him. I mean, really did not play well. But you look at his grades, and the guy looks like he's a stud. So I'm a little bit nervous with that pick, but initially that was one of my favorite guys in this draft.
We've got him in the 96 spot on our board, and I am not changing it.
Wow. He graded out 89.4 and 23 off of almost 1,000 snaps. 2024, almost 800 snaps, was an 87 flat. 6'2", 232, 23 years old. I say we take a stab at him. I'm sick of going off of RAS scores. Let's find somebody that plays football.
Jacob's fired up. Tim, you disagree, don't you?
No, I don't, because I'm actually thinking right now, do we go linebacker here and then try and grab a tight end, or do we go tight end here and grab a linebacker
question.
at 230?
Let's go linebacker, come around and get a Rondé Goodson, if it's possible.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking. You read my mind. Gadsden there? Yeah,
Gadsden, sorry, yep.
Here's the thing. He ain't going to be there.
Oh, we probably won't get him.
So we got to choose between Higgins and Gaston. Let's see what the board says. Again, the board has got Higgins in the 96 spot, right? And Gadsden is in the 99 spot.
Oh, wow.
So they're both a good value.
Yeah, the board says the better player is Higgins at linebacker, but we can't ignore the fact that Higgins was, that off with the RAS. You know what I mean? It is important.
I'm going with Jacob on this one. He says Higgins. Let's go Higgins. All
right, let's see here. Jake Shavink said, what will Green Bay do with Jalen Walker? He doing the Tariq Carpenter thing at 6'1", 218. Yeah, probably ain't going to happen.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's a great point. JJ in the Woods said Higgins is slow. He is, and we're going to take him. How about that?
Maybe he can tackle.
That we would welcome that with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, we've had fast backers that can't tackle, so maybe a slow guy that can tackle. I'll take it.
Somebody in the chat, can you tell me what Urlacher's 40 was, or even like a Ray Lewis, or sincerely?
I think they torched it, to be honest.
Did they?
I could be wrong.
I just want to know, literally, because if more bigger bodied linebackers.
Mike Berry said Higgins is always a F, so let's see if that holds true if we do take him. Johnny B says need linebacker more than tight end. Do I agree with that?
Somebody's saying that Higgins is hurt.
That's up for debate. I see where Johnny's coming from here, but I don't know. I don't know.
Urlacher ran a 4.57. That's pretty darn good.
It's crazy, dude, because he was a monster too. Wasn't he? Like, I can't remember how big he was, but he was. I want to say he was really, really tall, too.
He's a Neanderthal, man. He's the missing link.
Yeah. Well, we got to narrow it down. We're either going tight end Gaston or we're going linebacker Higgins here.
Man, I
Pat,
personally
you gotta
like
do it.
Higgins. Or, I'm
Tight end or
sorry.
linebacker here. You guys call it in the chat. Go fast. All right.
Yep, let's do it.
Solder said Higgins is hurt running on 1.5 legs. So, all right, let's see. Dead Fish, that tight end was just a big wide receiver. All right. Holmes 4.55 to 4.66. Higgins is good, very football smart. Aaron, what does that say? Aaron, what?
Timothy.
That is too old for this.
It is, yeah.
You people, I swear, I can't keep up with y'all. Jake is kind of leaning for tight end. Dave C says tight ends. Ben Holden said, excuse my language, I'm actually going to say it, all right? Ben Holden said, Higgins hit like a brick shit house, what he said, all right? So, yeah, I think he sold me on Higgins just now.
He was the
I'm cool with
best
it.
guy around.
Too old for this. Did you get suspended? All right, anyway. So what are we doing, boys? Talk to me.
I think I'm cool with the linebacker position. Worst case scenario, he has to maybe start halfway through the season, and maybe if he's nursing an injury, I still like the just pure football talent that he seems to have.
All right, we're going Higgins, Tim. You good with it, man?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right, got our linebacker.
A+. So much for that F.
Yeah, what you know about that, boy?
All right, now let's look at tight ends here.
All
Let's
right,
see who's not on the board.
put him on the board.
All right,
Oof.
tight ends, we've got
Oh,
a
gosh.
bunch of people. I don't know who they
Forget
are.
it. Yep, forget it. We missed.
Although, scroll up. What's the guy, Brent Nesbitt from North Carolina? I want to say that for some reason I liked him. Maybe I'm wrong.
From North Carolina. Oh, okay, gotcha. Let me see. That's Nesbitt, right?
Nesbitt. Nah.
Yeah, we got him at 269. Yeah.
Should
None of
have.
those tight ends grab my attention, that's for sure. So let's fall back to best available and see what we're looking like here. There's Upton Stout.
I
There's a
really
guy.
like Upton Stout, but
Undersized, but man, can he play?
156 on
Where do
my
we
board.
put him? You know.
That's a good point.
What about Jimmy Horn Jr. or Logan Brown? I like Logan Brown.
Packers met with Logan Brown. Let's see where we got him on the board here, boys. Logan Brown, we have in the 411 spot. Yeah,
Jesus.
it's because of consensus big board. They had him at 726, and it still hasn't changed the last time I checked. Or maybe it did change, and we just stuck with it. I can't remember. Kobe Hudson, wide receiver, no. Shamar James.
Crenshaw Dixon was interesting, I believe. Howard Cross. I love Howard Cross the third.
Yeah, I was just going to say Howard Cross. Notre
Crenshaw Dixon, boys, 129 on the board. Remember that.
Oh, wow.
129. We'd be getting him at 237. You kidding me? Who'd you say? Howard Cross?
Yeah, sure.
I want to say Howard Cross was lower, but let me double check. Yeah, he's at 216 on my board, which is weird because going into the college football season, he was looking like a dog, and then, of course, got injured.
2023, he played 610 snaps, scored an 89.8. He was the 6th defensive lineman out of 889.
It's crazy. Yeah, so for me, it'd be real simple. Hands down, the pick here would be the offensive lineman. Like I said,
Where do you have Thor Griffith, Clayton?
Oh, boy, I ain't heard that name in a minute. Thor Griffith, 139.
Ooh.
So we got Crenshaw Dixon at 129, right? And then we got Thor Griffith at 130. So what do y'all think we would need more? A 3 tech or an offensive lineman?
Look at Thor Griffin's numbers. 6'2", 320, played at Louisville. 2022, 90.5 on almost 500 snaps. That's the 9th best D lineman out of 860. 2023, over 500 snaps, 89.2. 2024, 84.3.
If this goes how we plan, he's going to be there anyway. They get him in the 379 spot.
Good Lord. All right.
So
then.
we could get them both, right? We could go
Look at that, Tim.
Yeah, we could go offensive tackle Crenshaw Dixon out of Florida with this pick, and then turn right around and get Thor Griffith at 3 tech.
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right, that's how we're going to wrap it up. That's awesome. So let's see here. Crenshaw Dixon, tackle out of Florida at 237.
B+. Okay.
And let's hope Thor Griffin don't get picked there.
There he is.
Not, of course. So with the 250 pick, the comp pick, we get Thor Griffith. Boys, we got a lot of top 150 prospects on our board here.
Nice.
That's awesome. So Thor Griffith is picked. They said end it with an F. We don't care.
We're still getting a B+ on this, at least.
So.
What do we get? Let's see the grade.
Let's see what we got here. Do they give an overall grade? They do not, do they?
If they did.
Well,
Oh, hey, I better do it right here. Let me check this. This is what's weird. They won't put all your picks on the same sheet, so you got to
That's
scroll.
stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how people do this stuff. So with the 23rd pick, we got an A, James Pierce Jr., edge defender out of Tennessee. Like Jake Shavink said, a little undersized. Maybe we can, avoid that or disregard it, I guess you could say.
that's what she said.
Yes. Hey, some people deal with that their whole life. Some people say, all right,
Not all, but some.
Jaden Higgins with pick 54. Tim was laughing all the way to the bank there. Wide receiver out of Iowa State. We got an A for that one. With the 87th pick, I would love this. Wyatt Malum, offensive tackle out of West Virginia. We got an A+ for that one. So we bolster that offensive line even more. Elijah Roberts at pick 124, defensive lineman out of SMU. We got a B+ for that. Jaire Alexander, cornerback out of LSU at pick 159, A+. Jay Higgins, linebacker out of Iowa, 198. We get an A+. And then at pick 237, offensive tackle Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, got a B+ for that. And these people don't know what the heck they're doing. Thor Griffith, defensive lineman out of Louisville, pick 250, the comp pick. They gave us an F, which stood for fantastic.
He was the best guy around.
Honestly, this might be my favorite draft that we've done.
I'm going to save it. I'm going to hit save right now. Oh, look at here.
That's what Clint said.
This
File it away,
might be
boys.
the 75th mock draft I've been a part of that I've drafted Jaden Higgins at 54.
That's gonna say it. Yeah.
We just put that in all the mocks that I'm involved with.
Yeah, I really like that mock, boys. That was fun.
Jay Cole says, I'll take this over PFF. I'm cheap when it comes to paying for that. Well, who's cheap now, Jay? Earlier in the chat, you said
you
Jacob
cheap earlier. didn't you?
You did call me cheap.
My, how the turntables.
My, how the turntables.
Heard it from a fan right here.
There you go. We got it saved and filed away here. Matter of fact, I don't know if we got room. I'll try it. Go ahead. Hang out
Thor
with the chat.
goes to summer school. Clint says, I don't know
How
why I
dare
think that's
you.
funny.
What? What'd you say?
I don't know why I think that's so funny.
What did he say? I missed it.
He said Thor goes to summer school.
You hurt me, Brett.
He got an F. So, yeah.
So we do have it saved here if we want to revisit it tomorrow at some point. There it is. That might be my favorite draft, boys. How cool is it, too, now after free agency? You shored up the offensive line a little bit. You didn't have to really feel like you had to press it too much. You didn't have to go try to find a center. We're going to kick Elton to center now that you got another left guard in-house. Also, you pick up that cornerback. That frees you up a little bit, too. And I like the Jaire Alexander pick. I think that's a solid pick there at 159. So
imagine if we had him and Kalen King that years prior were considered some of the best prospects at the cornerback position. And we got him on our team for basically chump change.
Yeah.
Music to your ears, right, Jacob?
What's that?
Music to your ears, right?
Oh, yeah, baby.
H.E. Soda with the super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, I have no idea how you do this nightly without booze. Man, hey, listen.
I was going to say, Clint.
A little bit of both. Just a touch. No, listen, this is fun, man. This is something, Soda, that I've done, and we got to go. We're way over. My wife's going to kill me. But this is something that I do every offseason. I'm walking through mock drafts. I'm building a draft board. Before I started doing the podcast, I was doing this anyway. Now I get to hang out with 500 people and talk amongst friends and throw ideas around. And this is freaking heaven, boys. That's what this is.
Yep.
This is awesome. When
Maybe
you get
the
away
question
from
is how do we do this nightly and Mandy doesn't have booze?
That's the real question. Actually, me not being downstairs bothering her, probably keeping her off the booze, to be honest. That's probably what's really going on here, to be honest. No, but it's a lot of fun, and this is like therapy for me. I don't want to get like all mushy or anything, but I just want to say that, yeah, there you go, Prince, 500 friends and a fam. No, it's just there's a lot of people looking for something like this to be a part of. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you go to Twitter and you feel like it ain't out there because there's a bunch of assholes on Twitter hanging out talking ball, right?
That's right.
They're wanting to just dunk on each other left and right. And then you see some of those people go live on their streams and they got 8 people and you wonder why, because they're doing that to other people on social media. They want to be the smartest person in the room. I just think it's awesome. We got so many people to bounce ideas off of and look at different angles. You learn more from people that you disagree with than the people that just, like Jacob says, you're in an echo chamber. What are you learning? What are you figuring out? Nothing. Everybody's just agreeing with everybody and poking fun at the ones they disagree with. So Clint says, thanks for having me, guys. I love this. Hey, thank you, Clint. Thanks for being a part of it, buddy, for sure. So anything else, fellas?
Jaden Higgins or nothing, baby. Let's go.
Yeah,
absolutely. Go ahead, Jake.
Too old for this. I'm not calling you by your new name. All right, Aaron, whatever that is. All jokes aside, he says, this is a great show, and I always enjoy this with y'all. The feeling is mutual. So thanks for watching us, guys.
He said it's a good show about
65%.
65%. That's what 65% of the time. You know what I mean? So, all right, we're out of here, guys. I always say my marriage. I'm sorry. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no. Here's the deal. Sorry. Quick update. Tomorrow, dinner tomorrow night. So there's not going to be a night show. There's not going to be a morning show either. If I get home in time, you will see a random afternoon show pop up. If you guys can be a part of it, awesome. If not, you can go watch it later. But then Friday, if things go as plans, morning show and evening show. So
nice.
Prepare for that. All right. So we'll try to get y'all afternoon show tomorrow. Bates, thank you, buddy. You've been here since day one. We appreciate you more than you know. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Oh, Brambo with the super chat. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Amen to that. Right?
That's right,
I'm always going to be in good shape because I will never be the smartest person.
Me too.
Everybody have a great night. Appreciate you.
There we go.
All right.
Bye, guys.